is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. As always, I'm Jenna Wolf. As always, that is the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. This right here is Nick Wright. Big show today. Kawhi Leonard's one-year stint with the Raptors could turn long-term. Steph Curry looks to add another notch to his legacy. But why not start with Kevin Durant? Without a doubt, the most inflammatory question in the Bay Area. Could the Warriors win a title without KD? The better question should be, could they win Game 1 without KD? Because that's what they'll have to do. Durant has been ruled out for the finals opener as he continues to rehab his calf injury. He might not even make the trip to Toronto, which would be Games 1 and 2. So, Nick, how close will this series be if KD is unable to go?
Well, to me, whether KD goes or doesn't go, it just changes who the series becomes more difficult for on the Toronto Raptors. With Kevin Durant, this series becomes demonstrably more difficult for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's going to have to guard KD, particularly in the fourth quarters of these games. He's going to have to figure out how to moderate his energy usage on both ends of the court. If KD doesn't play, they might be able to say to Kawhi, guard Iggy and kind of roam around and save some of your energy for those fourth quarters. But without KD, it becomes much more difficult on the other four Raptors defenders because there's a lot more running around, there's a lot more screening, there's a lot more chasing. So obviously, the Warriors would rather have Kevin Durant than not have Kevin Durant. That is, they can win without him, but they have more firepower with him. But the series, in my mind, gets harder for Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, the others, if Kevin Durant doesn't play because of the style of offense they will play if he's not out there. If he does play, or when he does eventually play, assuming he does, then it becomes much more difficult on Kawhi Leonard, who's going to have to be the best offensive player for the Raptors while guarding one of the best offensive players in the league.
Right, first note on that one, Kawhi Leonard, talking to people very, very close to him yesterday, they feel as if Thursday night in game number 1 in the NBA Finals, this will be the healthiest that Kawhi has been in a long period of time. So they are looking forward to that. I think that's a very important note.
And does that include the leg soreness he's had in the last couple games in the last series?
Yeah, overall, he's had some tendonitis in his left knee. And typically, Jenna, you know this, training, you have one side of your body, you start to overcompensate, so then something starts to flare up on the other side. He had a problem with his right quad in game number 3. Was able to get through game number 6, but it was important that they got finished in 6 games compared to 7, so Kawhi could get more rest. And with them clinching at home, they didn't have to travel, so all that was able to help him out. He would love to face Kevin Durant. He would love to. Given the stage of the regular season, given everything that he faced from a load management standpoint, he believes this moment he is ready for. It does change the Raptors and how they're going to play defense because KD won't be there. They'll have to make up their mind who Kawhi is going to play. But I believe it becomes even more difficult for Steph and Klay. And the reason why is because without KD, you can't afford for one of them to have a bad game. Typically, when you have the big 3 and you have Draymond and Iggy, you don't even have to worry about. 2 of those guys typically can be off, and they could still function at a high level. When you don't have KD, so now Steph, never been the MVP in the finals, is playing amazing. A lot of pressure on him. Klay, what if Klay's off? Because Klay's not going to handle the ball as much. A lot of pressure on him. And Draymond Green, to me, with KD being out, he becomes the focal point because his rebounding, he's the leading rebounder and the leading assist. But he gets the ball off the glass, push it down the court, more so with KD. So they have to be able to stop Draymond and realize that Draymond is going to be more aggressive. He's going to be trying to shoot the ball, be trying to score between 14 to 20 points. How can they negate that? They can't let someone else like Draymond score the basketball with KD not being on the court.
Can't you say, Nick, the same thing about Kawhi? At least Steph's had the other players who have, for the most part, been pretty consistent, Klay and Iggy and Draymond. But it's been hit or miss with all the players around Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he's got to be there, plus all those other guys have to show up if they even want to compete.
Oh, listen, of course, this is the NBA Finals. For every team but the Warriors that's made the NBA Finals in the last, I don't know, 25 years, if their best player doesn't play well, they're going to lose that finals game. Not a lot of instances of, oh, we have this MVP caliber player, he no-shows a finals game, and they won. How many finals games did the Cavs or Heat win over the last 8 seasons where LeBron didn't play well? 0.
And even the basketball historians will go back, well, Kareem missed the game. Well, he missed a game, and Magic Johnson did take over, but it wasn't a series. It was only a game.
And even in that instance, Magic, we didn't know it at the time, but Magic was en route to becoming one of the 5 greatest players in the history of the sport.
Yes.
So that those Lakers teams of the early 80s, which are maybe the best facsimile for the Warriors, they had a similar situation where you have 2 all-timers. So if one of them's out, the other one can pick up the slack. One interesting note you said about Clay, I mentioned that if KD doesn't play, maybe they put Kawhi on Iggy and have him roam a little bit, or be able to conserve some energy on defense. I don't expect them to do this, but it would be interesting if they say, Kawhi, actually what we want you to do if KD's not out there is take away Clay. Make it to where Clay can't get off, and then the offense will be entirely about Steph and Draymond, that pick and roll and transition. I don't expect the Warriors to have the success in transition with or without Kevin Durant that they had in the previous round. One thing the Raptors got a very good test in and very good experience in was slowing down a great transition team in Milwaukee.
Yes.
That's how they stifled the Milwaukee offense. So I don't think Draymond barreling down the court, getting,
It won't catch them by surprise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that they won't have as much success with that against Toronto as they did against Portland.
One of the key ingredients, I like the fact that potentially Kawhi taking away Clay to be able to negate him from going off and potentially getting 30. But I want to see if Toronto, if it takes them 2 or 3 series during the game with Steph, are they going to trap him? Are they going to play off the pick and roll? Because the other teams in the West, I was shocked. Houston, shocked with Portland, how they played Steph. So I believe that Toronto has the ability. They like to switch 1 through 5. But will they trap Steph, take the ball out of his hand, force other Warriors to go score the basketball?
All right, well, the best thing about them spacing the finals out is we get to talk about this for days and days and days and hours on our show. Coming up, for example, Steph Curry's legacy. Is it on the line in the finals? That's next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We will be right back.
Don't worry, Jenna. We're just a few weeks away from being able to do your beloved baseball. We'll get to it.